I want to welcome everybody to session 2 of the RED-E University Mentorship Program. This is not going to cover anything related to charts, but it's going to help you in your trading journey. This is probably one of the most important lessons that you have to have, whether you're a swing trader, day trader, holding shares, the whole nine, because the market can trick you every single time. But I'm going to teach you how I'm able to kind of walk away from the market and kind of trick myself with finishing every day, or just about every day, green. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this on the screen. I'm going to turn my camera off. I don't think you guys really need to see me that much here. But if you do want to see me, that's fine. Just send me a message and I'll turn it back on. Okay. All right. So let's get right to it. Of course, mindset development. Um, Disclaimer is always nothing that we discuss is financial advice. Recorded to tell you guys this by law. It's all for educational purposes only. So make sure that you always do your own research on anything that you hear on the market, on social media, whatever it is, me, anybody. Do your own research because all investments do incur a risk. Okay. All right. So a couple things we're going to cover. We're going to talk about adapting to change, unusual discipline, identifying strengths in the market, being creative within the market, and the very hard part about the market itself. Okay. Sorry, did I lose my screen? Okay, here we go. All right, sorry about that, guys. All right, so first point, adapting to change. The market shifts all of the time, okay? And as the market shifts, you have to be ready, right? That's why we say you never have to get ready if you stay ready. We're going to talk about some principles to help you to adapt to the changes in the market, okay? This is, again, has nothing to do with the chart. It's all about you, okay? So, first item here. Change is one of the most inevitable expectations you could ever have in a stock market, right? You've heard me say trade the trend and not feelings, or catch trends and not feelings. These are sayings that I say in addition to don't be afraid to take the base hits, see green, take green, right? Because what happens is you incur something called emotional disruption, and it allows information that you see to signal the need to adapt to whatever change that you see in the market on the chart. And that's what you trade. Understand that your ego can also be an enemy, and you cannot force a trade to go that you want it the way that you want it to go. And also, when you get out of a trade, it's not your fault if it goes the other way or in the way that you thought it was going to go at first. So you have to always control how you respond. So if you're down one loss, two losses, get out. Stop trading for the day. Okay. If you are down at least 1% of your total brokerage, that is a stop loss. Okay. We'll talk a lot about stop losses later on. Now, the second point is once you define what type of trader you want to be, whether it's a swing trader or a day trader, um, you need to understand that you have to sometimes undo that style. You can't, you can, but you shouldn't. You can day trade every day, but you really shouldn't, right? You shouldn't have to sit in front of a computer all day and try to make money in the stock market. Get your money and go. Again, I told you guys it only takes $250 to earn $100,000 a year. Of course, you'll probably definitely make more than that with us in the RED-E, Jarvis, or Premier League traders, or whatever Discord community that you decide to be a part of. This will all help cultivate your mindset. Okay. Understand that there are market cycles, and these market cycles are consistent. They happen annually. Sometimes they happen during each day. Sometimes they happen quarterly. It just happens. So the four market cycles are accumulation, markup, distribution, and markdown. You can see accumulation kind of starts at the bottom. I have an indicator that will help you with this later on that I'll share with you guys. It's called the volume tick Rogers trick, and it'll show green if it's accumulation. Markup will come up as blue, that's where the price starts to go up. Distribution usually is sideways trading right before it starts to sell off, and then you'll get marked down, which will typically be red. Okay. distribution would usually be orange on the indicator I'll share with you later on. Okay. Now, another part of adapting to change is the number of problems that you have that you need to also find new solutions for. Okay. So sometimes the solution may be averaging down on a particular trade, and some other times it may actually be getting out of it, right? Because again, you cannot force a trade. If you don't have a lot of time before the contract expires, you need to get out of it. All right. If you don't have time, get out of it. This is why I always suggest you want to put time on every single last one of your trades. Okay. It's very, very important. The fifth point I want to give you guys is you cannot improve if your mindset is dysfunctional, right? If you're always beating yourself up, if you're being hard on yourself, if you've had a bad loss that day, again, it's probably good that if you're having a bad day, don't trade. If you're sick, don't trade. If you're going through an emotional situation or a tragedy or anything like that, don't trade. All right. It's very, very important. Now, sixth point I want to give you guys is routine is also very necessary for efficiency. But if you break routine, this is also necessary for adaptation. So some of you may get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, have you tried getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and seeing what's happening with the futures so you can gauge and see what the day is going to be like? Or have you considered maybe staying in the box on one or two trades or always taking your green when you see it, right? Those are things that you have to develop that works well for you. But I want you to make sure that you are not afraid to have a routine, but also don't be afraid to break it and do something different because you always want to remain teachable, right? How you're thinking is going to always determine how you're going to trade. So you always want to speak positive affirmations to yourself. You always want to make sure that you're not going against the trend when you see a trend, and you'll learn about those again in later lessons once we get to the charting. But you want to make sure that your thoughts are positive thoughts. This is very important in every market. Understand this. If your risk taking mirrors your level of conviction, you will always be the most vulnerable and least able to adapt to changing markets when you're most overconfident, right? I've said it before, ego is the enemy. Just this past week was at September the 29th. Did a message about defining what humility looks like. Humility means to submit or to be beneath, right? Some people say that they'll never be humble, but also you have to understand that you have to submit to something. And you know who I choose to submit to, and that's the Father above. But understand that you don't want your ego or pride to get you overconfident in every trade, which is why when you see a take profit level, you're going to need to take it, right? Or you don't want to force it and end up giving all that money back to the market, because at that point, your pride leads you to going into the mindset of being greedy. All right. So I want you to be very, very careful about this. All right. A lot of people don't teach the mindset aspect going into trading. I think this is one of the most important things that you have to know before you could touch a brokerage, before you could touch a chart. Okay. Now, of course, all of my classes aren't general information like this, but this is probably, like I said, the most important. The last point about change is that routine is necessary for efficiency, but adapting to our routines is necessary for effectiveness. So if we see something that changes, we've got to make sure that we respond to that. Now, again, if you're in an option play, for example, and you don't have a lot of time, for example, I had a Coinbase call that expired October the 10th. I knew Coinbase had a gap up. I had some really nice profits on it. I said, you know what? My time decay, that theta that we talked about yesterday, was going to eat my profits away. I'm going to take my money. I can get back in for a later date. Okay. So again, I could have wrote it up, traded what I saw, but I would have been putting myself at risk. And this is actually a good routine of what we call risk management. Okay. All right. Let's be real though. Change is probably one of the most consistent things that we all will ever experience in life, period, right? We have to always be flexible and willing to adapt in markets. You will learn a multitude of strategies with me and future lessons that will help you with this. So while we're mastering these first few sessions, I always say it's best that you don't trade or paper trade during this time frame, right? So you don't lose any money. My goal, of course, is for you not to misplace funds ever. I want to put money back in your pocket in as many ways as I possibly can. Okay. So understand that if you're new to trading, you might not want to actually trade, but there's a lot of money to be made right now while this government is shut down. Okay. So let's talk about discipline. You often hear people talking about being disciplined in the market, but discipline doesn't always work. This is a true gem, right? Because once you get your core motivation for trading and adapting to change, being disciplined requires flexibility, right? You may decide to stay in something when the trend is clearly changing. I've done it a number of times. Every single time I have an L, which means lesson. You have something you have to learn from. Now, granted, I may have an opportunity to dollar cost average if I'm in a longer term positions, but I know myself and others will say stay disciplined. But what does that really even look like? So discipline is actually your core motivation for trading, and it's bigger than just mindset, right? These are your habits, your desires, greed, risk management, risk tolerance, and what drives you. So what you will not do out of discipline, you will do out of inspiration. So if you set a goal to earn, I guess maybe $100 a day, you're inspired to earn that 100 a day, $100 a day, right? But that doesn't mean that every single trade has to equal $100. Okay, understand that it all adds up. See green, take green. Don't be afraid of the base hits. Okay, it's not enough to be consistent. You must be consistently flexible and observant in these markets. When you're trading, especially day trading, only watch one chart at a time. I'll tell you from experience, it is one of the hardest things that I have to do by monitoring not only my plays, but also the trades for 100 plus people in a Zoom call. But I love doing it, right? I have a little bit more flexibility to do it because I have more monitors and I've been trading for a very long time, so I can see things and move accordingly. But for you guys, it's best to just focus on one thing at a time, unless it's something that trades parallel to what you're in. Don't try to jump in this signal, and that signal if you plan to day trade all three of them. Okay. So find you one good day trade. You can have you a couple swing trades, leaps, or whatever. But if you're going to day trade that one thing, whether it's SPY, Tesla, whatever it is, lock in on that particular trade. Okay. Remember, you always want to track the market volatility and use helpful strategies to identify if trades hit a specific target. Market volatility can be tracked on VIX, VIX, which is the volatility index, which of course I'll be teaching that in a later lesson on bear markets. So you may want to go back and check the schedule when I'll be covering that because that's going to be a very important lesson for you. Okay. So the limits of a trader's discipline is conviction. Adapt Adaptability becomes the new discipline. Peep this. Frustration is the mother of adaptation. So sometimes you can get so frustrated that you just have to adapt and sometimes walk away, right? And that's so important because you have to understand that emotions have a way of allowing traders to experience cognitive and emotional upheaval, which is why they say don't have your emotions tied to money. Even the word teaches us that greed is the root of all evil. So you've got to, or money is the root of all evil. So you got to be very careful about allowing your emotions to be tied to those small losses or big losses, right? Because if we rid ourselves of these things, discipline will help you climb the ladder based on your experience. Like I said before, Those L's, those losses are lessons. All right. Super important. Okay. So, continuing on discipline, emotional intelligence is an aspect to help with discipline. Remember, your personality is also trading the market. So, some people like to get super hype, like my buddy C. Lee, he loves to get hype. I remember at one point, I was just like that, especially when you have a big trade, right? But you'll find that over time, you get a little bit more relaxed because you know what's coming and you know how to stop it, right? But there's nothing wrong with being super excited. And it's great to have that type of energy, right? Because I'm going to tell you, your personality is always going to be in the trade. Therefore, if you're ever set off or out of whack in an area, I'm telling you from experience, simply don't trade. True story. I had a situation. I was on a Zoom call. Something bad was said. I had a good pace going in a trade. Once the issue was said, I had to shut it down, and I ended up taking a big loss because I tried to stay in a trade, even though I was thrown off of whack. I was out of my comfort zone and out of my element. So I missed my exit, right? So, as ironic as this sounds, you got to stay ready for change. Readiness is a form of discipline, too, right? This is why we got to stay ready. Comfort is the enemy of adaptation. So, we all are living in a zoo, truthfully. I told my wife a long time ago that uncertainty is reality, right? And we have to deal with that and be willing to adapt to that in all things, all right? So, here's a disciplined self-assessment for you, right? And I don't want you to answer me, but I want you to take note of these things, right? Number one, how do you expect the market to evolve on a particular trade or whatever trade that you're in? You should be asking yourself this on every trade, right? Then, where do you believe the greatest opportunity is in the current market for whatever ticker that you may be trading? Now, just as a caveat to this, I would encourage you to look at the sectors that are performing well. Again, you will learn about the sectors even more in later lessons, but I still want you to make note of this, okay? Number three, what is the greatest threat to your trade? Is it a government shutdown? Is it a GDP report? Is it Elon Musk? Is it Jerome Powell? What is it? What is the greatest threat to your trade for that day? So this is why understanding the economic events is important. While listening to the news or reading the news is extremely important. Those are all things that could affect your trading in addition to the trend, right? How would you trade your trade based on the market shift or if a threat happens? All right, this is where your risk management comes in. Are you going to stop loss or are you going to force the trade? Okay, very, very important. Next, what are you doing to master learning this trade to identify opportunities as well as threats? So, your opportunity, of course, will always be the profit. The threat would be a change of the trend, your potential reversal, your resistance, your reject, right? What is it? Support, as we know, typically pushes it up, but what if that support is lost? So, understand that those are all threats that you have to be willing to change and make an adaptation to. Okay. Now, here's some key elements of discipline in trading that I want you to have. I want you to always follow a trading plan. You enter and exit trades based on your preferred rules, not your gut feelings. Your gut doesn't tell you where the trend is going. Okay. The chart does. Number two, you need to control your emotions. Don't chase. No FOMO, fear of missing out. Panic sell during the dip. I've done it 1,000 times. Fear and greed don't lead your trades. Your plan does. Okay. So stick to your trading plan. You also always need to have a stop loss mapped out. That's where risk management comes in. You never risk more than you can afford to lose. Stop losses are set and always respected, even if you're triggering them yourself. So if it goes down to a particular price, stop it, get out. Okay. You've often heard me in the live trading. For those of you who have been with me for a little while, I say, okay, this is my stop loss target. Once it hits it, I typically have to just get out of it. All right. I had to do that with Tesla, and I did miss out on some money by doing it, but it's okay. I'll live to trade another day. Okay. The fourth one is patience, right? You wait for the high probability setups so you don't overtrade and you don't revenge trade. So if you take a loss on a call and you see it's going down and then you buy a put and then it goes back up, that's revenge trading, right? You don't want to do that. Done it before, trust me, it's not worth it. Also, the last one of the most important ones, continuous learning is so important. You study your past trades and refine your methods. Losses are lessons, not failures. Now, granted, we have some amazing technology now that helps you avoid losses, but that doesn't mean that every single trade that you're going to hit is going to be a win because you're still human and your finger's still on the trigger. You got to be willing to pull it when you need to. Okay. So be willing to learn as much as possible in case those technologies are no longer available, right? Because we just never really know, right? To feel differently, you must see differently. This is very important. If you don't expose yourself to being optimistic and just seeing the good in everything, even if it doesn't go in your favor, then you're in a tough space. I'll tell you true testimony. This year has been a complete walk of faith, not by not sight whatsoever, right? I haven't been able to force anything or make anything happen. It has literally been all to the glory of God, and that's my faith, right? So I just see the end, and I know He's going to take care of me, right? So that's just me. All right. Now, you also really need to identify your strengths. This is so important in your mindset. And I know you have some great strengths, and I know that you're going to do very, very well. So here are some things, right? Don't let your fire go out, spark by spark, or spark by irreplaceable spark in the hopeless swamps of the approximate, the not quite, the not yet, the not at all, the world you desired can be won. It exists. It is real. It is possible. It is yours. This is a quote by Ayn Rand. This is in Trading Psychology 2.0. And I thought that it was great to have this here when I originally did this lesson because it's very true. We can't let our fire go out from one loss, right? You've got to keep going. You've got to push through the uncomfortable territory. One big part of our strength is knowing that the performance problems are the result of failing to access performance strengths. So when you know what you're good at, if you know that you're a great day trader, you know that you're great at identifying bull flags, you know that you're great at identifying a good long-term entry point, right? That is good. You're identifying a performance strength that you have, right? So at that point, we have to adapt to it, right? We are most apt to find fulfillment in the enactment of our strengths. We perform the best when our environments are aligned with our strengths. This is why, for me and the RED-E, we believe in having a positive community with no profanity, right? We like to keep it holy. We have fun. We joke a little bit, but we want to stay positive because, again, we want our foundation to be in alignment with the positive environment. And this is a strength of our community, right? So here are a few strengths that I wanted to just point out. I know most of you probably have some of these, but being an achiever, activator, being adaptable, analytical, an arranger, a believer, commanding, having great communication, even being somewhat competitive, being connected to others, talking in the right context, being deliberate, being a developer, having discipline, having empathy, being fair, focused, futuristic, harmony. These are just some strengths that I think are really important. Also, being a learner, a maximizer, being positive, being relatable, being responsible, having self-assurance, just being excited sometimes, or even just being strategic, or even just having a minute of significance. So what I want you to do is I want you to write down your top 10 strengths, right? While you're noting your 10 strengths, I'll say mine. All right. Mine is my faith. All right. Mine is also my risk management, my ability to see things before it happens based on technical analysis. I'm very analytical. I like to communicate. I also like to chill. I like to have a cool, calm, collected environment, right? And I think that that encourages and motivates people. And I always like putting God first because I know that if He goes in before me, I'm in good hands because He's got me covered, right? So those are some of my strengths. I also know that in my weakness, He's made strong. So it just all works out. So I hope that you wrote down a few of your strengths, but this is just for you only. I just want you to make note of it. So on the last session, you can come back to it and say, okay, I need to focus on this, right? Or even if you've done this before, you got this. You've seen this before. Now you've got them written down. Now you can execute. That is the goal. Okay. Brett Steinbarger says experience becomes peak experiences when they uniquely draw our signature strengths. So, again, your strengths are important. So, identifying strengths in trading helps in these areas, right? First, adaptability and learning. So, you can be ready for those changing markets. Analytic and strategic thinking that allows you to research. In other words, DYOR, like we talked about last night. Do your own research. Number three, focus and activator, right? That's a goal setter, right? I'm setting a goal to make $100 a day or $1,000 a day or $10,000 a day, whatever it is. Communication and relator, right? You're working well in teams. You talk openly and engage in the Zoom calls or in the RED-E chat, or even in text messages with your friends that may be trading with you, right? That helps tremendously. We hear a lot about fear and greed, but psychological well being is undoubtedly the most important emotional experience for trading, right? This is all about your happiness, your contentment, your energy, as well as your affection. These are extremely important. Again, if you want to have good trading days, you have to have all of these components. All right. The next important part is cultivating an environment of creativity. All right. Now, this is something that sometimes the indicators can do this for us. Other times, it's not just the indicators, it may just be our community or those that may be trading with us, right? I always say, stay ready so you never have to get ready. Trading as an entrepreneur requires the ability to shift and adapt to markets. We want to cultivate creativity. We want to create a vision for trading every single chance that we get. Both fundamental and technical analysis are extremely important. Your fundamental analysis will be components about how the company um, operates with their earnings and revenue, what they do, what type of catalyst may be coming up. For example, NVIDIA has this super semiconductor or what have you, right? That's all going to be fundamental. Our technical analysis is going to be what the chart is actually saying, right? The chart is telling us this. So this is what I want to trade. So you have to look at both of those components, right? Your long-term success in trading is based on entrepreneurial skill. So this is something that you will develop as you continue this journey, right? You have to remain proactive in knowledge, skill, and every opportunity, right? We have partnered with Jarvis, for example. That is an opportunity to run up your bag, to have access to a great indicator that'll help you, just as an example, okay? Creativity in trading requires finding good trades, investments, and exploit opportunities and minimizing risk. So if you're thinking about like the next phase of artificial intelligence, for example, is it simply just quantum computing? No, not entirely, right? What about synthetic intelligence? That's exactly what I'm talking about. We're getting prepared for it before it happens, just like we did with Palantir, just like we did with C3 AI, just like we've done with IONQ when it was $7 and so many other plays. Before they took off, we already had positioning because we saw what was coming. Just like with these Bitcoin miners, right? We have to treat trading just like a business organization. All right. This is why I say see green, take green, keep it moving, take your base hits. You're going to hear me say that a lot. Okay. Understand that opportunities are everywhere, yet you can only choose one at a time, especially when day trading. Like I said, if you're day trading, just day trade that one thing. It's very challenging for me, even me, yes, to go and look at 5, 6, 20 other tickers, whatever it is. But somehow I have balance in between. And sometimes I just can't. I'll say, hey, give me a minute, or no, not right now. Okay. But still, you have to cultivate this environment of creativity. All right. So here are some tips. Okay. Number one, you want to define the vision you see in the market every day. For example, this morning I said today is going to be a great day. The government shut down. I know I'm going to cook. And it happened. All right. Two, you want to gather your information about the trade or investments such as news, economic data, fundamental information, market data, and execute a decision to act or not. Granted, yes, sometimes godly mindset, motivation, and markets today will tell you exactly what I'm seeing. Sometimes the morning drive is going to give you some insight, but you still got to do the work too. You got to do the work. I've been so many times I've had some great plays or some great things or suggestions from members, Deb, Alicia, just to name a few who are here today, that pointed some great things out. And I'm like, this looks really good, right? This is why this next point, after generating fresh ideas and staying on top of every opportunity is there, but use networks such as discords or communities to help your mindset for your trades. Because sometimes you need somebody to say, hey, I would get out of that, Mark, or no, stay in a little bit longer. You got more room to go. That kind of helps. It's not financial advice. You're just trading with friends at that point. Okay. Also, it's super important that you monitor and track your performance either by journaling or keeping a library or screenshots for entries and exits of some of your trades that way you have some type of record of when you did it and how you did on that particular trade. A lot of people write them down. I like sticky notes. They work really good, but also have a notebook where I jot things down as well. Right. And you want to manage each of these as consistently as you possibly can on a daily basis so it becomes habit. So that way you don't make the same mistakes that you made before. And also you kind of know where you're headed. Okay. So insight is the result of perpetual shift. State what you see and seek an opinion from those in your circle. It is not financial advice to ask, hey, Mark, hey, Alicia, hey, Deb, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Now, sometimes you won't always get the answer that you see or even the answer that you want, but hey, the circle is important. And that's what I love about what we do in our community, right? We have some really awesome people in here. It's not always about the money, but we're all going to make some good money together. Okay. Now, here are the hard parts, the hard parts. All right. So, the first one, of course, not trading. Knowing when not to trade is one of the biggest issues that we all face, especially when the trade looks good. Everybody else is cooking, they're making all this profit, or they're in 5, 6 trades, but you don't have to trade every day. Granted, I know I get on Zoom every day. We have an opening bell daily live trade, but you don't have to do it every day. I love to see you though, but just truthfully, you need to have that balance because you got to breathe a little bit. Cash accounts make it easy to where you don't overtrade. And so do honestly margin trades, right? So you can only have what 3-day trades in a 5-day period with the margin if you're under 25K. So that's actually really safe to an extent. Okay. Number two, FOMO, fear of missing out, right? Missing an opportunity is always a big factor. Again, you don't have to take every trade. We've got what 11, 12 analysts in the RED-E. We all make great signals, but you don't have to be in every one of them. Everybody's been cooking in their own unique way. Mayhem with his leaps, Jackie with his snipes. I mean, Bree with her signals, their day trades, her futures. Mike with his signals. I mean, everybody has always been putting some good things out there, but you can only choose a select few because you have this amount of cash, this amount of trades available today, and then you're done. Okay. The third biggest one is having a stop loss. Like I said, we're going to learn about setting levels. I'll show you how I do it. I'll also show you what I use. But having a stop loss is vital. So, this is the point where I want to get out if I'm down, and then also having to take profit. When it hits this level, this is where I want to get out. Okay. Also, very important because it's so hard to come back when you're down more than 20%. I don't know how many of you guys have ever had that happen, but typically when it's down 20%, even when you have to average down a couple times, takes a while to come back from that, okay? Also, this is something else that's big, accepting new ideas. I had one person, I was telling them about RSI, and they was like, why are you telling me that? Well, understand, you got to be willing to accept different perspectives, even though you might not agree with it, or it may be different from something that you've been taught, even if it's been taught from me, right? A fool despises wisdom is what I've been taught that the word says, right? So as you're perfecting this skill, you want to keep an open mind to new ideas, right? True confidence is often boosted by wins, yet knowledge is power. So always remain teachable, right? Now, another hard part. I don't know what I said right here. The greatest challenge you will face is remaking yourself when you have been successful in the past. So, like I said, you'll have some losses that come up, but understand you're going to have some challenges. Sorry for my typo. All right, another tip. Understand ego is the enemy. There will always be someone to say that they're better at blank than you, right? Let them say it. Listen twice as much as you speak. You don't have to give a response. I'm happy that you're better than me. I'm happy that you're doing great. I'm happy that you made $100,000 on the play and I made $10. I'm very happy for that. That's not being belittling or feeling bad, but understand everybody's different. Okay. Also, make sure that you track volatility in the market. It helps you understand the fear and the mood of the market so you can respond appropriately. Like I said earlier, the volatility index, VIX, is what we use to track the volatility, and it's the fear gauge in the market. We will be talking about that in the bear market lesson. Okay, lastly, you want to develop strategies to manage opportunities as well as risk. So when you see an opportunity, you need to have a habit of going to look at the chart, seeing the trend, look at the fundamentals of the company. You can use the RED-E chat GPT to help you out with a little bit of that, but it will help you know what type of risk that you need to have when going into the trade. And believe it or not, this is the last slide. Make routine checkups with friends and communities will always help you grow. Your mindset is so important within this journey. You cannot afford to not to protect it, right? Hopefully these tips are going to help you along the way. All right. So real quick, I want to take any questions that you guys have about mindset. I'm going to give you the capability to unmute, or if you want to put something in the chat, you can do that. I would love to hear any feedback from you or any questions. Next week, we will be talking about applications 101. Again, this is going to be more beginner friendly about what you need to have to use on your phone or your computer. So we will be getting into that breakdown on next week. Again, going back to our calendar, let's get that on the screen for you. We will be meeting next Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So those are our two sessions. And then we will meet again the following week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So again, you might want to screenshot this calendar. Okay. So did I have any questions from anyone pertaining to the lesson? Any experiences that you can share from your trading experience that you would like to share? Please go ahead, unmute yourself, and feel free to speak.
Hi, Mark.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, God bless you.
God bless you.
God bless everybody.
Thank you.
So I've been trading for a little bit, but I'm just so off.
Mhm.
Like, first of all, it's very intimidating. Like, just being in the group.
Mhm.
Cause you hear, you listen, to what people are saying and you don't feel adequate. You don't know like where to begin, like what question to start, or if you do, you feel kind of like, oh my God, like, even though I would believe that nobody would like say anything bad, or anything like that, but you just feel like that. So that's the mindset of just, you feel kind of helpless there. You
Yeah.
feel like you can't do it.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it, like, I feel like I'm getting ready to cry. I've been
That's
doing this
okay.
for I've been doing it for a while, but it's just, you need to know the particulars to do
Absolutely.
this thing. You can't, I mean, I lost a lot of money and
Hmm.
I gained some money too. And I'm thinking in my concept, I can still do it this way, the old way, like I can get it, but it's not. I
Yeah.
I failed. Like I'm failing. Like I don't have money like that. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like I do got goals and stuff like that. It's been good. It's been bad, but it's been bad too. And I think the bad part about it is for me is just, I still don't have it.
Yeah.
And until I get it, just the beginnings of this thing, then it's just gonna still stay the same way. Like then sometimes I feel like too, like, yes, it is a circle, yes, it is a community, but everybody out for themselves. And it may not be like that, but
Yeah.
it's just like who do you connect with that you can relate to? Like I prefer to go with somebody who don't know, like we can learn something together so I won't feel so bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's hard. It's not easy.
No, it's not.
And I
It's not.
just decide, I appreciate you a lot because I know that in your heart of hearts, you just always trying to help people, and there's so much you can do.
Yeah.
I mean, you can put the information out there, but it still take the person to say, yes, I'm gonna do this. Yes, I'm gonna accept the challenges or whatever I have to do to get to this point in place. And it's just, I just felt like I needed to say that.
No, I'm glad that you did because I want you to know something. You got this number right here. You call my phone when you get in those moments because time is always going to be your best friend. I don't care who is signaling what, and I know it's hard. I've lost money too, and it sucks. It sucks bad because at the end of the day, you're like, dang, I done lost $23,000 or
Mm,
I done lost $230,000.
mm,
It happens. But at the end of the day, you show up each and every day, right? And you
mm,
and you be willing to take those small base hits. And like I said, if it's a quick phone call, call me. I will answer the phone. And I will walk you through whatever you're going through because you don't want to take like 50,000 things at a time because some of these people they've been trading for, several years and some not as long and made a lot of money real quick and they're very aggressive and there's nothing wrong with that. But
mm,
everybody's not like that. And that's like I said, that's a cool thing about having a community because we can support each other, we can lift each other up. And I want to give you your flowers real quick because it takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable enough to say that, sometimes I feel like a failure. But as your brother, I want to tell you, you're not a failure. And I want to tell you that your words have power. And I want you to start encouraging yourself as you trade. When you have those moments when those trades are green, look, I'm gonna take my 10%. I don't care if it's $10. I'm gonna take
mm,
my money and guess what? I can trade again because I can make another $10 and now I got 20. 20 more dollars
mm.
than I had. I'm just using
Right.
that as an example. But
Mm-hmm.
I want you to be encouraged to speak power to yourself in your personal life, professional life, and your trading life. Because if you speak it, you're giving it life. So, no, you're not a failure. You're not a failure. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I just kind of feel like it's not, I don't, like it's just certain
Hmm.
areas
Yeah.
not, you know what I'm saying, and it's just with options and stuff and just getting in and getting out, like that's where, like learning the trading view and just the charts and all this stuff. It's just like,
Hmm.
oh my God, like that's a process.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's all I'm saying. It's just that process that I think that is intimidating, and I just back up from it. And I really appreciate you saying that. Like death and life is in the power of the tongue, and I just have to somehow in my mind, I just have to get some way. I have to get out of this. Like I can't do this. You know what I mean? Like I can be a good trader.
Yeah,
I can do this, but it's just this blockage that's like make me feel like I can't, like or again, just afraid to ask the question. And I listen to you all the time, and I hear you got a family and you trying to do your own thing. So why would I call you like that? Even though
it's
you
okay.
open it up to that communication, but
Yeah,
that's not, you feel like I mean, I pull
right.
when you like left and right. You be like, your wife be like, no, Mark. You know what I mean? You would be like, oh, I got to get out of here. Like, and that's just the real deal. You know
But
what I'm saying?
if the market is open, like the line is open, I don't take this phone out of the office unless I travel.
Hmm.
So if the market is open and if I'm in my office, I'm going to answer the phone. If I'm not in my office, I'll call you back. But yeah, I got balance. I had to
Yes,
learn the hard way. But
yes,
that's
I
why I
respect
really
that.
have three phones. I have the Solana phone, my iPhone here, and then the red phone for y'all. So,
Hmm.
it's a lot. It's a lot. But you got this. And I want
Yeah,
you to be encouraged. And
thank you.
I'm so glad that you said that. So glad.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to think to myself to that too. And thanks, Mark. I was like, kind of catching up with the trainings, and man, you have come a long way with the
Man.
first trainings. It's so clear. And I was telling the wife and even my kids, take these courses, do something with it. And they just know I want to be, something else. But finding the strategy options can be tricky. One strategy that I did find useful is like taking those leaps away. When you find a company that is good, and taking the base hits with that daily trading. Because one thing that was burning me back in the day when you loved AT&T, I got
Yeah.
burned bad.
Oh
The
man.
first hit that we that we did in Oracle, I remember back in the day with Armando when we met in New York. That was already high in the sky, and it's important to understand that these people calling out plays or gains, we have to see when they got in. It's maybe the plane already took off, and it's okay to miss it. Catch it at the bottom. If he like Tesla, we got in. I got in this morning with you, and today I was like, hey, I was like making $2 on that trade. I was like, I should get out because it was just too high in the sky.
Right.
Even though we got until like the 10th, but I think it ran pretty good. I have faith in Tesla, but at the time it was like a week and a half ago when it was like 300s. To get into those plays. The calls are were very expensive, but I think knowing the companies and going long term in the time, and to that point too, we took a play on SPY. It was at zero DTE, and I got called in a meeting. That was last week. I'm on vacation right now, but I went to that meeting. I was like, man, I'm gonna miss this, But I set a sale,
Hmm.
target price, and it hit it, So when I get back from the meeting, I made my money and ran, So just setting up, I think if you got a day trade, with a group, it's taking those small hits because if you lose,
Exactly.
you don't lose a lot, and don't play with big money because to that example, I got burned badly on. I remember we were doing the XPX. It never
Oh
recovered
man.
with sideways, and I tried to like revenge trade, with the SPY. I did get the money, but I got so many contracts I was not able to get out of all of
Exactly.
them. So it
Exactly.
was, so lesson learned. I was feeling like really bad during the weekend. Like, no, it's like it's a lesson. I make money elsewhere, so you have to, keep it even, and that's it. I think the longer plays are the ones that are gonna keep you alive. The rest is just the rush hour adrenaline. I think and we need that too. Like it's fun, but
Hmm.
you have to manage your risk, and your money too.
Exactly. I'm glad you said that as well. And I've tried to make sure that when I'm doing signals, I balance those cheap entries, right? And put those out there for like 30 days or something like that. For example, there's SPY 700. I mean, they were green today. If you would have bought more than one, you would have made like 34 to 50% on that trade because SPY moved up. It's not even $700 yet, but you still got a road up until it does become $700, but you still had an opportunity to walk away with some profits based on the trend of the trade. So, like you said, time is always going to be a great thing. Now, everything doesn't always go at the time you want it to, but if you see it and when you zoom out on the chart, again, when we break down charting, y'all going to get this. And since I'm doing it live, you're not just watching a replay, you'll be able to ask me questions while we're doing it, right? So, don't give up. Don't give up. But thank you so much, Sir DeMarco. Appreciate you. I saw someone else was unmuted a few seconds ago.
Yeah, it was me, Mark.
What's up, Deb?
Deborah, Dev. I just wanted to say to the I didn't catch her name, the lady, that she got this, and if she need any help, at a lower level, I mean, I'm not Mark, but if she needs any questions to be answered, I'm open to help out.
Cool, cool. Thank you so much. Y'all message her. I think she's Deb.
Thank you.
What's your Instagram? I mean, not Instagram, your Discord, Deb Ray. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
somebody.
put it on the chat.
Okay. Yeah, y'all hit her up on Discord. She's been great. Deb is she's like my sister for real, all the way on the West Coast. But she's been around for a while, and I just thank God for what He has done in her life and what she's brought, the value she's brought to my life as well. So I appreciate you, Deb. So is JoJo. That's my other brother. All right, Sean. I think I see you're unmuted.
Yeah, what's happening, Mark? How is everybody?
How you doing, brother?
Doing good. Just driving home from work, catching in. This is my second time going through the mentorship and just picking up some stuff. And really, not much of a question. I wanted to throw some comments in since I've been in the RED-E, I think for I don't know 5 months now or something like that. For any of the new traders out there, just wanted to offer some perspective and things like that. I got stuck in the trap of trying to get rich overnight and trying to get everything all at once. I was trying to hit a home run with every swing of the bat, trying to get $1,000 every play. When you hear the words, base hits, see green, take green, but live by that. It's amazing when you start building your confidence. You get those little victories. You'll get some bigger victories here and there, but I tell you what, a little victory is better than a little loss. So make sure to take those base hits. Don't try to swing for the fences every time. Don't try to get grand slams every time. It's those little plays that compound and add up that give you the confidence and make you feel good about what you're doing and know that you can do this.
Absolutely. And one other perspective to add to that, Sean, if you don't mind, is that if you can get paid $30 an hour, what's wrong with taking $30 in 5 minutes?
That's
Okay.
exactly, yep, that's exactly it. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So just, I've found a lot of success in the quitting trying to get rich overnight and trying to get rich with every play. And just like you said, hey, if I can make 20 bucks in 5 minutes, 30 bucks in 5 minutes, hey, cool. Might not be my goal for the day. I might not get my goal for the day, but it's more than I had when I started the day. And there's
Bingo.
a lot to be said about that.
Bingo. Right on the money. Martin said, Moneyball, get on first. Awesome. All right. Anybody
Hey,
else want to share?
hey, Bart. It's
Hey,
D. I'm on my other laptop, so it's coming up as my Discord name.
what's up,
So
D?
I just wanted to say I had sent her a private message, the young lady who's the iPhone user, because I may not know a whole lot either, but like the other Deb was saying that hey, maybe we can link up and help each other. Two heads are better than one, and three, four, however many else is better than one as well. So
Yeah, for
yeah, it's
sure.
definitely a good community, and we're all here to support each other. So we got to do what we can do.
Most definitely.
And
And
what was her name? Do you know the iPhone user? What's her name?
I'm not sure, but you can put your Discord name in the chat and she can just
Okay.
add you. But I'll say this as well. If y'all need me to make like a small group for you in the RED-E just for you all, just let me know because I do believe in Proverbs 27:17 where it says is iron sharpens iron, so shall one man sharpen the other. So if we need to have a space, a smaller space where you all can do that for each other, I'll create that environment. I mean, I know we have the mentorship channels where you all can interact with each other on each lesson, but I think that that's also good to have a small group where you all can chat amongst each other within the RED-E. Like I said, I have no problem creating that for you all. This is a safe space. Okay. So y'all
Can
let
I
me.
share something?
Absolutely.
I just wanted to say to the lady that was talking earlier, that I have felt that definitely. I mean, getting into this group, everyone is wonderful. They are so nice, but it can be a lot because you see all these people making like thousands of dollars, and you think, "Oh, I need to do that." And one thing that has helped me is paying attention to the percentage. Like, because I think, a normal savings account, you might make what, 0.5%, you know? And so I start thinking, this is way more than I could have made. Even if I make $10 off that play, well, I may not have put near as much into it as those other people did, like, so I try to balance it that way and see it as that instead of looking at it from that huge perspective of, well, they're making all this money. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm not saying this very well, but
No, you're
um,
spot on.
back, I know one time I started this back in May, and I had seen Ulta had some kind of news and they went up, and I looked at it and I saw, they had some gaps down, and I thought it's going to go back down. So I bought a put, and I even got my sister Rebecca to get into it with me, and I was doing so. I was up like $480, but I didn't want to take it
Mm.
because I thought, no, it can go more. I see these other people making all this money. Let's go more. I ended up down like 90% out of that play before I got out because I did not pay attention. Like I thought, no, I can do what they do. But you have to be happy in the spot that you're in life, like, or not just in life, but in trading. Like, you know, you, the thing about this group is they do all try to grow together and they do all try to encourage you and help you. And that's great. And they're showing you those things to show you, you can get there one day. And I know that can be hard if you're in a much different place. And yes, it took me a little while to get there, but I feel like now I'm a little bit more confident. I actually am very proud to say my account has grown 100% in the last month. But before that, I lost a lot of money. And, but it was the mindset is what really got me. Once I finally got my mindset right, I've done so much better. And buying time, like you say, and seeing green and taking green is the biggest thing for sure.
Yep.
But I just wanted to encourage her. And if she ever wants to reach out to me, she can. I am not an analyst by any means, but I can give you some encouragement
I've been trying to get
anytime.
I've been trying to get you to become an analyst. You and
Thank you.
Rebecca.
Mhm.
They're trying to get you.
Oh, Rebecca, she definitely could, but I would love to one day. But
Yeah.
hey, I will encourage all day long.
I want Alicia over there too. Alicia been cooking.
And
But
thank you, Mark.
oh,
I
you're
have to
welcome.
say, you have been wonderful. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for all you do for us.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You said something that I did want to point out about trading the percentage, right? I used to say this a lot, trade the percent and never the dollar. I even got shirts made that say it. They might be a little bit too small right now, but nevertheless, trading the percent is always going to help you get rid of that greed factor. Like so many times when I say I took gains, I'll say I took 20%, I took 50%, I took 100%. You never hear me say I took $100. I mean, I may show you the profit, but most times I'll say the percentage because it's a good practice to trade the percent and not the dollar. I love seeing people with 1,000+% gains. Jackie, he posted one today, 1,700% on a SPY call that expires in January. He paid $1.23. It's now worth $1,700 or something like that, a little over that. Insane gains. But again, he bought time on the play, but he doesn't care about, I mean, he does care about the dollar amount, but he's mostly excited about that percentage amount. He wants a 10,000% play right there. Not too many people are doing that. So that's a great point about trading percentage. Excellent point. All right. Anyone else want to share? Man, I tell you this, the feedback tonight is great. And I love hearing real testimonies about real experience because it helps everybody. I'll share another one. I got so many stories. So one day I was actually getting ready to board a plane coming back from New York. And I was trading Meta before I got on the plane. I probably had somewhere around 40 something thousand dollars on this particular trade. Um, I paid for Wi-Fi service on the plane for a year or whatever. So I'm like, well, I could get on the plane, trade like I always do or whatever. It's going to be fine. Well, for whatever reason, my Wi-Fi wouldn't connect. By the time that the plane landed, I was down $23,000. I was not happy about it, but it was a lesson. And I said, if I'm going to catch a flight, And if I'm trading, I need to be out of the trade before I get on the plane, or just don't trade at all. So those type of things happen. And it's just a part of the process. And to this day, I've not given up, because if I can run it all the way down to almost nothing after I've ran it up before, but I know I've done it before, I know I can do it again. So don't think that if you're down a lot that you can't make it back. Even one more scenario, more recent, Palo Alto Networks, PANW, right? Palo Alto Networks, it looked like it needed to break like $203 on the chart. So I bought a $250 call on September 22nd. Had to look at it. I said, well, once it gets to 212, I know that this is going to be valuable, especially if I buy a contract expire in November. Well, Palo Alto Network kept coming down after CrowdStrike reported earnings. So our dollar cost average, which meant I bought more of that same contract. I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself on the lesson, but I bought more of that same contract to lower the average cost. And when it moved up, I made a profit. After I made the profit, I sold those extra contracts that I bought, and I kept one. I'm still in it today. All right. Fast forward, we look at the chart today. Palo Alto Network jumps to about $206, which is one of my key levels. So that contract was down maybe about 35% at one point. Then when I averaged down, it was down like 16. Then it went up to like 4 or 5%, took profits at the 4 or 5, left one. And today that contract is only down 4%. And it's really house money, but it was down, but I had time and I averaged down. So I made the cost less. So if I would have kept more, I'd still be up right now. But again, you just got to go through the motions. Not everything is going to be a loss, even though it may look like one. I've got some swing trades out to 2028 and 2026. One of them's up 37%. The other one up to 2028 is down 22%. But look at how much time we got until 2028. All right. Got another one expiring in March. It's down 54% right now. So I have every opportunity to average down on that play, but I also know what's coming because I can look at the chart, and you all will be able to look at it too and be able to snipe it when you see it. So don't give up. You will be able to do this. Okay. Be encouraged. So any more questions or comments? We're going to get out of here. It's actually been over an hour, not too much over. Doing pretty good on time. I may still be able to watch Bible study virtually. But guys, that's what the mentorship is for. And I want to know, for those of you who want to do the small group, please send me a DM. I'm going to create a category and a channel just for you guys to talk by yourselves, okay? So I want you to have safe spaces. If y'all think it's too many of y'all when y'all DM me, we can make adjustments for that. I know those watching the recording probably won't have that privilege, but we'll try to make something shake, okay? If there's nothing else, y'all have a wonderful evening, and thank you guys so much. We'll see you in the RED-E tomorrow for Open the Bell live trading. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mark. Have a good
Good
night.
night, Mark. Thank you. Bye.